Y'all, I don't know what it is about this Saturn and Aries transit. Really, any outer planets, heavy transits, Plutonic transits, Saturn, Saturnian transits, that always get me like in my feelings, like deep in my feelings. And so I'm gonna try to get through this as best as I can, and give y'all the information and also just some gems for your rising signs. But I would invite you to do deeper research on this transit and previous transits that have happened during this time, and let me know in the comments what you've discovered doing some of this research, and just the things that you found looking in. And I also will have at the bottom I will also have in the description box, I'm sorry y'all, I also have in the description box a 1 to 2 page, I think it's 1 to 2 pages, but kind of like a guideline that you can have for this particular transit, and it will also include some journal prompts as well. So I hope y'all enjoy, or at least get what you need from this presentation. And let me know in the comments what you're hoping to gain from this particular transit. And if you would like a personal reading on how this transit will affect you, you can definitely book a reading with me down below. And also, if you would like to do some shadow work, especially while we're in this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius transit, I also do have a guidebook available down below. Let's get into it. Okay, so Saturn and Aries in evolutionary astrology, karmic, ancestral astrology. Well, first and foremost, before we get into this presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about what Saturn represents and also what the energy of Aries represents. Now, Saturn makes its full completion every 29 years. So each time we go through these cycles, it can just feel like, especially when we're in the new energy of a Saturn transit, especially coupled with Pluto transit, it can just feel like very intense and heavy energy, especially now that we're moving into this fire air energy. So things can feel very dense at this time. Now, the last transit that we had for Saturn and Aries was April 7th, 1996 through June 9th, 1998. And then it had a brief dip retrograde back into Pisces in 1996. And this next transit that we will be moving into is from May 2024 to April 12, 2028. And the key things that we will be experiencing during this transit, moving from this like collective conformity kind of like, or just muddled energy of Pisces, and then moving into this kind of individualistic but like self-sovereign energy into Aries. This Aries energy will be feeling like we're dissolving structures to initiate new ones based off of authenticity. So our real authentic, our true nature. So we're going to be seeing things and people, okay, the true nature of people, for better or for worse, during this time. All right, reclaiming the right to exist, act, assert, initiate, particularly for lineages who were silenced or punished for boldness or rebellion at this time. We'll also be rewriting ancestral contracts around violence, suppression, and survival. Many of our lineages carry trauma around battle, leadership, exile, and this transit says, let's face it and forge anew during this time. All right, and not only did our ancestors carry this energy, but we're also carrying this energy because it has been passed down, because it is necessary for healing at this time. Okay, like I got my makeup all over the place today. I ain't been fighting yet. Okay, anyway, so Saturn and Aries, this is the embodied boundaries, right? So not just energetic and emotional, but physical, spiritual boundaries rooted in instinct and confidence at this time. So Saturn and Aries demands that we learn to lead ourselves first, and this is going to feel like the warrior training, all right, with Saturn and Aries. So naturally, Saturn in Aries has like this bold fire, but Saturn is going to kind of crystal that fire this time. So today's agenda, what we'll be going over is, okay, what is Saturn in Aries? Some significant events that have happened through the years, and then Saturn in Aries through the rising signs, and then also a couple of journal prompts to follow up. Now, let's talk a little bit about the planet Saturn, and then we'll talk about the zodiac sign Aries as well. So Saturn in Aries represents this idea of spiritual discipline and selfhood. Let me put this here so I can see. Spiritual discipline and selfhood. The spiritual discipline of the selfhood, I should say. Saturn in Aries asks us to grow up by growing deeper into ourselves and who we actually are, not just who we've been projected to be. All right, the illusion of who we thought we were supposed to be starts to fade, and the masks start to fade, and now the true versions of our identity starts to come to the forefront. All right, so this has to do with maturing, identity, willpower, instinct. Aries brings fire, urgency, initiation, but Saturn brings boundaries, responsibility, structure, and then karmic contractual agreements that are being brought up and either resolved or passed on to the next generation. You will be able to decide that. All right, so when these energies meet up, we're called to forge the truest versions of ourselves, like a blade, i.e. Mars, right? Tempered through challenge, pressure, and trial. This is not about an ego for ego's sake. This is for learning how to stand in your truth without apology. All right, 10 toes down and never backing down. Turn down for what? Okay, taking responsibility for your desires, the things that you want, the things that you say that you want, and going after the things that you say that you want, and who you want to be, and showing up as such, and not saying, okay, well, I guess maybe when this comes in, then maybe I can. It's just embodying that version of yourself now. All right, reclaiming ancestral courage where it might have been buried at this time as well. And then also, this is going to be what we call the rite of passage. All right. This is the embodiment of not waiting for permission to exist and protecting what you create and what actually matters. Okay, this is not the time to be timid in your desires. This is not the time to be timid in your actions. I'm not saying that you necessarily need to be acting from impulse, because again, full-blown impulse, I think it's a tempered fire with Saturn going into Aries. But this definitely is a time where you're like, okay, let me become the chief of my own life, right? Like, let me become like the chief that is like directing the tide, right? At least also too leaving room for flow, because we are in a North Node in Pisces at this time. But also like taking the steps, using that fire and taking the steps that you need, and using that Saturnian energy to build structures around what it is that you are doing. All right. So at this time, we have this upcoming transit, Saturn in Aries again from May 2025 to April 12th, 2028, and it will be conjunct Neptune in Aries, okay? So this overlap mirrors historical cycles where spiritual restructuring and collective rebellion occurred, okay? So then we'll also experience like a surge of people wanting to be sovereign, movements and self-led communities, and this will also be coupled with Pluto in Aquarius. So we're really going to see this in maybe even to the extreme in some cases. And we'll talk more about that. We'll have more conversations about what that could look like in the coming present and also in the future. And then the rebirth of spiritual activism at this time, like people returning back into their ancestral lineages of the things that they used to practice and their belief systems and things like that, and getting into more of a spiritual practice that really truly resonates with your soul being, right? Redefining identity, nationhood, and personal will, and then digital pioneers and decentralized leadership models as well. So those who have been maybe sitting in the back, okay, willfully, sitting in the back, are going to be called to the front at this time. True leadership will be called to the front during this time, okay? We also have, and then we're also talking about like what really actually makes 2025 to 2028 so different from the rest of them. Not to say that these previous times before weren't pivotal, but what makes this energy so potent at this time? All right, so this is the first time since the 1850s, around the 1850s, 1860s, that Neptune and Saturn were conjunct in Aries. All right, and it will perfect from 2026 to 2027. This era was also marked by mass uprisings, revolutions, and reshaping of national borders and identities at this time. In the U.S., this was just before the Civil War, so themes of autonomy versus systematic control was running rampant at this time as well. And then we'll have global waves of spiritual rebellion, and then new religions were began at this time as well too. So again, this could be from a place of recalling back old spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs that were once maybe gone in the past, or revitalizing old ones or creating new ones. You know, I don't know why I keep hearing like guilds or factions forming or something like that, like guilds and factions and things that were forming at this time. But that's definitely something that you can see here in this particular transit. Also too, in 2025 to 2028, we're returning to those themes. And you want to ask yourself, when I'm not being colonized, controlled, and confined, who am I in those spaces now? Just think about it. If nothing was holding me back, if there was nothing holding me back, if there was nothing telling me who to be, how to act, what to do, where to go, where to be, policies, procedures, laws, if none of those things didn't exist in this time, who would I be without those confinements? Okay, because that's exactly what they are. Okay, without the borders, without the monies, without the things. Okay, without all these things, who would I be in those spaces? Okay, so let's talk about the last time that the Pluto and Aquarius, or I'm sorry, Saturn and Aries transit happened. So last time we had Saturn and Aries transit, this was from October 1998 to February 28, 1999, almost 2000s, but into that era, right? So this was after the 60s era as well, like the return of it after the 60s. This was the Y2K pre-millennial tensions and anxieties about technology in the future. I was there, okay? I was a young bull, but I was there. This was like the advancement of technology, the boom and the rise of the internet and cell phones, and when I really think about it, like from the 90s, y'all, and y'all can let me know like some different changes that you also noticed. And we were talking about this also too on a live last week, the YouTube lives last week. If y'all want to join, feel free to join every Tuesday. I came on Thursday last week, but every Tuesdays is usually the days and things. And we realized just how much like technology has like shaped us and changed us and kind of created like this connection wall, you know. But we're not talking about that necessarily full on here, but just how much things have changed over time in the scape of technology from then till now. The impeachment of President Bill Clinton at the time, the rise of anti-globalization movement, and also hip-hop within the Black community and identity reassertion. Music has even changed from that last transit that we had in Saturn and Aries. You know, this was like forging us into like, not only, like I said, our truest identity, but like kind of like this revolution about ourselves and who we are. Now, you know, this energy that we're in currently right now, we're just seeing this, a lot of music, if we're just going to use that example, a lot of music that kind of tears us down, like very low vibrational music. So I'm actually curious and interested to see, especially like when we're talking about like individuality and identity, these themes that kind of play off from Pluto and Aquarius to, you know, Saturn and Aries, and then also too in the summertime when Uranus goes into Gemini. I'm wondering if like people's like individual, I feel like it is, I'm gonna call it as it is, but individual cells and expression starts to come forth to the forefront at this time. It'll be interesting. I'll be curious and also be interested to see what happens during this time. Now, what was happening from March 3rd, this is another transit that happened as well. March 3rd, 1967 to April 29th, 1968 as well. You can see here. This was the height of the civil rights movement at this time. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., 1968. The rise of the Black Panther Party movement and the Black Panther Party collective in general, and other collectives that existed also around the Black Panther Party. There was multiple collectives that existed during this time, and not just the Black Panther Party. They were very pivotal in the collective movements, but there were multiple movements that they did not talk about that existed during this time. All right, so major anti-war Vietnam War protests and resistance, and then global student uprisings, which we're seeing now at this time, but around Paris, Mexico City, and also in the U.S. and other places too. But those are just like central pivotal spaces that were happening at this time. And then the transit before the 60s, we also see the transit that was happening in the 30s. Okay, so this is April 24th to October 17th, 1937 to September 21st, 1939. And then March 19th, 1940s, intermediate due to like retrogrades and stuff like that as well here too. So what we saw during this time was the Spanish Civil War from 1938 to 1939. We also seen the rise of fascism in Europe at this time, the prelude to World War II, when Germany invaded Poland at this time, 1939, and then the beginning of the war as well. And then continue the Harlem Renaissance at this time, influence in Black art and identity, labor uprisings, and unionization movements in the U.S. as well here too. Now, the furthest that I want to go back in time is around the 1960s. And I promise y'all I will do longer videos on like these longer transits and stuff like that. Like I said, it's just a lot for me to record some of this stuff and start to talk about some of this stuff, because it is just heavy work. And it's not the same type of stuff that they were teaching us. Even the stuff that they were teaching us in class was a lot. Like when we were growing up, middle school, high school, things like that was a lot. But just the depths of some of the things that were happening at these times that they did not tell us about, it's just heavy stuff, you know. So I'll get to it eventually, okay? So now we have the 1960s, where the 1950s, 1960s, where the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries was the catalyst of transformation, okay? So the bleeding of dissolution of old structures, Neptune in forging new identities and systems, Saturn in Aries, as we approach a similar alignment from 2025 to 2028. So we may witness parallel themes during this time. So collective rebirths, societies redefining themselves amidst the challenges to existing structures. So for example, I've been talking a lot about capitalism here on this channel, right? Especially during my lives. And so you can see people starting to shift outside of these systems while we are still under the guise of these systems, but finding ways to make things work, but then also like lessening away from these particular systems in the midst of the empire burning to the ground. Okay, we also have spiritual evolution, so a surge towards spirituality and metaphysical understanding. And then we also have technological innovations, okay, so breakthroughs that challenge our perception and redefine the human experience. All right, I know we talked about AI in some of the lives. We talked about the digitization of our economic systems, and also not just an economy, but even like our livelihood, the way we live, the foods that we eat, and those things as well, right? There's going to be a lot of themes and secrets coming out about that as well too. Not going to get onto it in this video, but it's happening, okay? And then we have uprisings and resistance during the 1800s, during the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that was happening here. So ongoing maroon resistance, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on this channel as well. For those of you that don't know who the Maroons are, they were revolutionaries and they held a lot of rebellion and uprising. They were independent, they were sovereign, they were pirates, they were people of the land that didn't necessarily follow the rules and regulations of the societies that were held in different places. And you can see a lot of these maroons in the Caribbean, but they were all over the place. They were all over the world and moved to different parts of the world to kind of live their own lives. And if you want to do more research on that, you can. But like I said, I will definitely make a short video of the resistance eras. Also, too, the Civil War enlistment as rebellion as well, too. People were denying being a part of the Civil War, fighting against and ruling against being a part of the Civil War drafts and things like this here as well. And then Afro-Indigenous alignments as well, alliances as well here too. The Caribbean and Latin America decolonial movements and abolition struggles that were happening, the Cuban uprisings that were happening against slavery continued, leading up to the 12 Years' War from 1868 to 1878. Okay, then we have Jamaica, which was the Morant Bay Rebellion in 1865, and also Brazil. Though slavery was illegal up until 1888, the Columbos escaped enslavement regions and communities and thrived in hidden regions at that time. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and switch in and get to talking about the rising signs, but please let me know what you think. If there's anything that you want to discuss in the comments that I have not mentioned that you noticed during these previous transits and times, please let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and breeze through these. Aries rising for you, this Saturn Aquarius. Why I want to keep saying Aquarius? Saturn and Aries transit is happening in your first house. Okay, the first house of self, the first house of identity, the first house of the lens or how you show up and what you're meant to embody in this lifetime, the personal traits that you're meant to embody in this lifetime and actualize as well, the energy that you're meant to actualize in this lifetime. So this first house is going to be maturing your sense of self, initiating with integrity. There might be some identity wounds that may be coming up at this time that you're meant to clear, right? Stepping into the embodiment of what it means to be in a leadership position and just a leader overall. And then building a relationship with your own name, like who you are versus who you've been or who you've been taught to be at this time. You know, really coming over, when we're talking about sovereignty, this is the sovereignty of the self here. So some things I want you to ask yourself during this time is, how am I being called to take responsibility for my own becoming? And then what ancestral mask am I willing to shed as I walk into my truest self at this time? Now, for Pisces rising, this Saturn and Aries transit is going to be happening in your second house. All right, so this is going to be talking about building self-worth from scratch. So everything that you've been taught in the past, now we're clearing the whole canvas, because now we're about to do something completely new and completely different at this time. Learning how to manage resources, and this is all types of resources. It's not just financial, but all the resources that you have. You might be even find yourself giving away resources at this time, really downsizing in the things that you have at this time so you can kind of travel a little bit more lighter at this time. While Saturn is in Aries, I'm not saying that's going to be your whole, life here too, but just while Saturn is in Aries at this time. And then also too, valuing the skills that you have. Sovereignty starts with your trusting your instincts to survive, and not only survive but also thrive in this world. Okay, so some questions I want you to ask yourself during this time is, how have I outsourced my sense of worth, and what can I reclaim, and how can I reclaim it through this embodiment? Okay, this embodiment of self, like really seeing yourself for exactly who you are and embodying that energy. And then also too, what values are truly mine and which ones were passed down from survival mode. So look to your family and ancestral unit and what some of the ideals and beliefs that you were taught about your sense of self and self-worth at this time. And now Saturn in Aries is again asking you to build from a new sense, self canvas here. Okay, if you like a personal reading, you can definitely hit me up to see how this Saturn and Aries transit will affect you. For those of you that are viewing this reading, I do have Saturn and Aries specific readings for this particular transit, and that link is down below. And also, if you want to do a little bit more deeper work, I do have a Saturn and Aquarius guidebook available as well down below. Okay, so next we have Capricorn rising. Capricorn rising, for you, this transit is going to be happening. Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip? Oh, let's go to Aquarius rising. I almost skipped y'all, I'm sorry. For Aquarius rising, this transit is going to be happening in your third house of communication, short distance travel. This has to do with your speaking voice. This has to do with all forms of communication, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins as well. And then I would say like immediate learning skills, trades, and things like that that you can be learning at this time. Disciplining your voice and thought patterns at this time, and also boundaries at this time is what you are learning. So asserting your boundaries through communication, taking courageous steps to speak your truth and honor your story and truth as well here too. Really just having like this, you might notice your voice starts to change at this time. And this could be a voice of like physical voice, like the way that you're actually communicating, or it could also be the means of the ways in which you are expressing yourself. Okay, like physically expressing yourself. And I know we're not necessarily talking about the first house here, but this is just overall, when we're talking about communication, this could be in any types of forms of communication. You might find yourself a little bit more streamlined and more like, you know, in your body and in yourself during this time. Okay, so let's see, what narratives do I need to unlearn in order to speak and think as my authentic self during this time? Okay, and then where is Saturn helping me ground my voice and sharpen my message at this time with Saturn transiting Aries? All right, so this is the deep work that you can be doing at this time, and really getting to the core and the root of your voice, your internal voice, your outward voice, and the ways in which you express that. And those things there. Now, if you want to get a little bit deeper into this, you can definitely book a personal reading with me. This is only available to y'all that are viewing this video here during this transit. So if you're interested in seeing how this will affect you in your entire chart, you can book a reading down below. And I also have a Saturn in, I don't want to keep saying Saturn in Aquarius, a Pluto in Aquarius guidebook as well, that you can do a little bit more deep journal work, video work, or whatever you would like to do during this time in the description box down below. And let me know in the comments how you feel, how you think, and how you would like this transit to affect you during this time as well too. Okay, so for Capricorn rising, we have this Saturn and Aries transit happening in your fourth house of home, family, your relationship to your mother, your roots, your ancestry, all these things. This is where you're going to be confronting ancestral patterns, okay? In the home and around the home, your body of the home, your temple of your home, your own internal world as well, not just your physical home here. You're reclaiming the right to be safe in yourself. Your warrior runes that might also be stemming from childhood that can come up here as well. And also, what ancestral patterns around home security or parenting am I being asked to refine at this time? How can I create more of a stable inner foundation rooted in truth and not tradition? All right, so you might be feeling a little bit unruly at this time, Capricorn rising. All right, you might be feeling a little bit more like wanting to kind of go against the grain of what traditions that you've been taught, especially around of themes of like your internal world and also like your physical home space at this time. You might also be finding yourself spending a little bit more time in your home space during this transit, of just finding yourself just wanting to go more inward or being a little bit more internal at this time as well too. That might be coming up for you as well. But if you would like to get a personal reading, I have personal readings specifically below if you are interested for this Saturn and how the Saturn and Aries transit will affect you. I also have a Pluto and Aquarius guidebook if you would like to do a deeper work. But all in all, let me know in the comments down below how you would like this transit to affect you, or what you're expecting for this transit, and anything else that you would like to add that maybe you've discovered during this transit, but also previous transits as well. Okay, now for Sagittarius rising, All right. This transit will be happening in your fifth house. Saturn and Aries will be transiting through your fifth house. This is the Leo house of fun. This has to do with flirtation. This has to do with romance. This has to do with gambling. This has to do with children. This has to do with like creativity and self-expression and projects and all this kind of things here. Now, Saturn here is going to be healing that creative confidence. You might be kind of feeling like, you know, you haven't been able to really fully show up fully in yourself and your creativity. You could like have like maybe a project that you're working on and you kind of drop it off, and then you're like, okay, well maybe I want to commit. This is going to give you the energy to really commit to your creativity and whatever that looks like for you personally. Okay, lead with your joy, just not duty and responsibility at this time. And then claiming your right to be expressive and seen and expressing your inner world and your inner flame at this time. So the questions that you could be asking yourself at this time is, where have I limited my joy to creative expression and fear of rejection? And then what does Saturn ask me to master in order to play freely and shine courageously at this time? Okay, you could feel a little bit more like Saturn could be pushing you outside of your comfort zone at this time to create and to express in the ways in which you would like at this time. It could feel a little bit jarring, it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's a necessary for you to be able to really step fully into the physical expression and body, inner world expression that needs to come out at this time. So this is like a blank canvas, starting anew, and then maybe going at your expression in either a new way or maybe grudging up in old ways in which you used to express yourself in a creative way, and like really fine-tuning what that looks like for you and just having a good time with it at the same time. You know what I mean? If you would like to look deeper in what this Saturn in Aries means for you personally, that link is down below if you would like to book a one-on-one personal reading with me. I also have a Pluto and Aquarius guidebook that can help you, because there's going to be a sextile forming, going to be working together with this energy to kind of go deeper into this energy if you're interested. And also, let me know in the comments down below how you would like this Saturn and Aries transit to affect you personally, or if you found something from previous transits that you want to discuss in the comments down below. Definitely let me know. Now, for Scorpio rising, this Saturn and Aries transit is going to be happening in your 6th house. So this is going to be very disciplined time for you at this time in regards to, it's a Virgo house of health, wellness, you know, day-to-day routines, and not just the work that you do, like your, you know, employment and things like that, but like your personal work, your life's work. I know we can talk about like 10th house and 11th house things, but I feel like the 6th house prepares you for the things that you're doing in your life's work, because it is the day-to-days that you're doing to build onto, you know, your life purpose and things, which you are your purpose, but you know, we do have callings as well, of missions and callings as well during this time. So you know, taking disciplined action towards your physical, spiritual, and mental health, and breaking patterns of burnout through intentional work. So you're gonna really want to get very clear on your day-to-day of like asking yourself maybe the question, is this actually contributing to the things that I am looking to heal and build, or is this actually causing more detriment to the things that I'm looking to heal and also build as well? You also want to ask yourself, like, what daily practices will support my sovereignty and ancestral healing? Okay, and how can I redefine my rituals of service to align with my true mission at this time? Okay, now for Libra rising, this is going to be happening in your 7th house. This has to do with sovereignty in relationship, right? Okay, this is the 7th house. This is your house, okay, of sovereignties in relationships, not abandoning yourself for the sake of your relationship, Libra rising, okay? And then selfhood to please, you know, like you being in your own self and like the abandoning completely and like, oh, well, you know, I just want my lover to just like, you know, or my partnerships and things like that to be this, so I don't want to cause any. We're getting out of that, all right? We're getting rid of that kind of energy now. So you're rebuilding your boundaries and learning how to be conscious and having equal partnerships with people. You also want to ask what contracts, energetic or relational, must I renegotiate to honor my path? And also, where is Saturn teaching me to choose myself without abandoning connection? There's nothing wrong, Libra, with, wanting to be a support to other people with this transit, but you just need to find the balance between the yeses and the nos during this transit, specifically for you. If you feel like when you are making a decision about something, Libra rising, that you're abandoning yourself in the process, or you might even feel like that pent up energy because deep down inside you don't want to do it, but you're doing it because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, cut it out, okay? So let me know in the comments down below what you feel and think. If you would like a personal reading with me, I do have Saturn and Aries readings below. I also do have a Pluto and Aquarius guidebook if you would like to work through that as well, down in the description box to give you a little bit more deeper. And why I say Pluto and Aquarius, because it's going to be forming a sextile, which is kind of like working together with the Saturn and Aries energy to really support you in this necessary deep questions and work as well. Also do have a journal prompt at the end of this video if you're interested and curious, if you want to write, speak, video, whatever, to kind of help you work through this transit as well. Now for Virgo rising, this transit is going to be happening in your 8th house. This is the Scorpio house, okay, of deep transformation, rebirth, sex, intimacy, emotional connectivity, inheritances, whether this is like inheritances from contractual agreements or physical inheritances, which is like money or other people's money, or this can be gifts and abilities that you are also inheriting from your blood lineage or bloodlines. All right, so this is transforming how you hold power and anger and intimacy, cutting cords to enmeshment or energetic dependency. Your body knows how to protect you. Okay? So follow that. Listen to your intuition when it comes to these things. The questions that you could be asking yourself at this time is, what ancestral stories or traumas am I being asked to transmute with courage? Okay? And how can I reclaim my power, but by facing what I've been taught to fear, especially when it comes to those themes of intimacy, sharing resources and things like that. There might be some things that be coming up, or maybe some of the things that you've given a little bit freely at this time. It can make you feel a little bit irritated at this time, but it's something for you to ask yourself at this time, okay? If you would like a personal reading with me, that link is down below to see how this Saturn and Aries will be affecting you personally based off of your birth chart. And I also do have a Pluto and Aquarius guidebook to help you go a little bit deeper during this transit as well. And then also too, just let me know how you would like for this transit to affect you at this time, or what you're hoping to experience at this time. And also, if you just want to add to the conversation about Saturn and Aries transits, please let me know in the comments down below, because I do love to hear y'all's comments as well too. Okay? Now for Leo rising, if you happen to be a Leo rising, this is going to be happening in the Sagittarius house, the 9th house of exploration, right? The great journey, philosophy, higher education, higher pursuits, writing, speaking, traveling, long distance travel, and things here. Exploring new philosophical and spiritual paths, okay? Being bold in your beliefs and ancestral truths that are yours to live, not just to read. All right, so this is going to ask you to go on that greater journey, okay? It's going to ask you to go on that, not just read about, maybe the places that you can go, but actually actualizing those journeys and visions that you have for yourself to go on at this time, okay? You could be moving at this time as well too. I know Saturn kind of makes you feel a little bit more restrictive, but it's Aries energy that we're talking about here. So you could possibly and potentially be going, maybe traveling, maybe thinking about moving, maybe moving to a new place at this time that really helps you expand internally, but also externally as well too. You could just be feeling like a brand new person during this transit. Like, a lot of things are crumbling, but then also things are like being rebuilt at this time as well too. Being bold, what belief systems, the questions to ask yourself, what beliefs or dogmas have I inherited that no longer serve my evolution at this time, okay? And also, where is Saturn asking me to become disciplined a disciplined seeker of deeper truths. Again, going back to that, you're not just reading about it, you're not just dreaming about it, but you're actually doing it. You're actually making those things happen. All right. So it's going to ask you to embody that Aries warrior kind of energy, to where you're actually, you know what, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to see where it takes me and see where it leads me. I'm going to learn, this new thing. I'm going to, maybe you even decide at this time to teach something new, or teach something that you've known that you want to teach as well too at this time, and just see where it takes you. You know what I mean? So that's definitely something that can be coming up for you at this time. And if you would like a deeper kind of reading at this time, just to see how, or if you would like to go deeper and get a reading for this Saturn and Aries transit, that link is down below. I also have Pluto and Aquarius guidebook as well down below if you're interested in kind of doing a little bit more of a deep dive, especially during the Saturn and Aries transit, but also this Pluto and retrograde transit here. And then also too, just let me know down below in the comments how you hope this transit will affect you. And not only will it affect you, but maybe if you have any other information that you want to give to this discussion about Saturn and Aries transit, please definitely leave it down below. Now for Cancer rising, this energy is going to be happening in your 10th house. It's the Capricorn house of public status. This has to do with your mission, purpose, vision, how you're seen in the public eye as well. It's your overall calling, I would say too. You also want to look into the 11th house as well, but it is the public facing energy that you're here. So this is going to ask you to restructure your leadership, okay, to learn to initiate without being domineering at this time. And then also maturing your public face or your public presence, because you are going to be called to the front at this time, Cancer. All right. So this is being bold and ethical and leadership, being a leader, being seen as a leader, especially like a spiritual leader at this time. If you're already not showing your face, Cancer rising, I would definitely ask at this time that you start being seen more. All right, and being seen for your healing capabilities, your healing abilities, because, I know you like to be in that shell, and, you learn how to, go back and forth between your energies and stuff like that, but the world needs you. I don't know if they told you this, but the world needs you at this time, Cancer rising. All right, so the questions that you could be asking yourself at this time, Cancer rising, is what legacy am I being asked to build? Not just for myself, but for those that come after me, okay? Another question that you can be asking yourself during this time is, how can I lead with integrity while honoring the shoulders that I stand on? Also, your need to have time alone, but then also come out and do what it is that you've been called to do as well. Finding a good balance in between the two, from like overgiving to undergiving, you know what I mean? Like finding a cool, healthy balance between both of those things at this time. Now, if you would like to know how this transit will be affecting you personally, you can definitely hit me up below with the Saturn and Aries readings. Also too, if you would like to go a little bit deeper into this work, I do have a Pluto and Aquarius guidebook that can help you really get to the bottom of some things in your personal chart at this time. Shadow work guide here. And then also too, please leave me a comment down below what you think or how you would like this transit to affect you. And also if you just want to add a little bit more into this transit and some things that maybe you've seen, not in this transit, but previous things that maybe that you've found for this transit of Saturn and Aries. Okay. All right. Now for Gemini, this is happening in your 11th house. This has to do with community building. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Okay, there we go. That's better. The light it's getting dim outside. Anyway, this Saturn and Aries transit is happening in your 11th house. Okay, so this has to do with community. I think I said that already. Yeah. But what's also happening too is, this has to do, I'm sorry. This is happening in your community and vision, right? undergoing discipline within your communities, and building sustainable movements, not just monetary hype. This is something that you want to build for the long haul. And that's why Saturn is here, right? You could be finding your soul tribe at this time, Gemini rising. This could feel like what it is that the foundations that you're planning or you're seeding for your new collective groups and things like that you're going to be affiliated with are going to be people that are going to be lasting for the long haul at this time, okay? So some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself, Gemini rising, is who are my true allies, okay? What kind of future are we building together? And also, what ancestral dreams wants to be realized through my collective contributions at this time? All right, this is legacy building that we're talking about here with Saturn and Aries. This is not no frivolous. I know when we think about Aries energy, you know, it can be like fleeing, like, oh, it comes and it goes. But Saturn is here, y'all. And Neptune is also going to be here as well, too, in Aries. But it's like the dreaminess meets the plan, right? The dreaminess meets the plan. So you have this dream and you want it. You're like, okay, I want to do this thing. And then now Saturn and Aries comes in. It's like, okay, now we need a plan. And now we have the grounded energy that we need in order to move forward on that plan, okay? So let me know in the comments down below what you hope to get from this transit. If you would like to do a one-on-one personal reading with me, that link is also down below specifically for Saturn and Aries. And then I also have a Pluto Aquarius shadow work guidebook as well down below in the comments if you want to do deeper work. But please let me know again in the comments down below how you want this to affect you, and then also too if you want to add to the conversation, feel free to let me know, and I would love to hear your input as well. All right, now we are getting to Taurus rising. How you feeling, Taurus rising? How you doing? This is going to be happening in your 12th house. What a house for the Saturn and Aries transit to be funneling through at this time, Taurus rising. This is the warrior of the unseen, you know, channeling your energy into your spiritual work, dreams and healing, clearing karmic rage and ancestral guilt as well. So there's going to be a lot, especially mentally in the mind. This is the Pisces mental energy, you know, in the 12th house. It's the hidden house. It's the subconscious house. It's the place where you try to escape. You know, this is the dreams and past lives. And so you could feel, you know, I would definitely say at this time, you know, Taurus rising, if you need some time to like maybe go talk to somebody, or if you need some time to like just have some alone time to really like allow things to come up for yourself, I would definitely say to take this time out, because there could just be some heavy ancestral stuff coming up for you during this time, and you're going to need the time and space to allow it to do so. All right, so at this time, maybe ask yourself questions around what hidden fears or inherited burdens am I ready to confront and release? Okay, and then also you want to ask yourself, where do I need sacred discipline and to reclaim my inner peace and spiritual sovereignty? Okay, if you've been too much, Taurus, in the material world and too much into this physical world, which I know you're a physical, but you know, you're also material girl, but you know, physical or material boy, whatever the case may be, sign or energy signature, but there needs to be a balance in between the two, because I think we tend to forget this. Taurus is not just the physicality of this earth, it's also very spiritual, because essentially, I mean, we're all connected to everything, but Taurus, you're connected to the trees, the earth, the animals, like you're the first earth. Okay, so getting back into your spirituality, getting back into your spiritual body is going to be what is being called up during this time, and also clearing of ancestral baggage that you've been carrying and holding on to for a long periodically time. Okay, Taurus rising. So for the journal prompts that I want to ask y'all at this time, I don't know, it took my journal. Hold on one second. It took my journal prompts off of here. Hold up, wait a minute. Give me a second. Okay. So journal prompts that I want to ask y'all, you can write these journal prompts, you can speak these journal prompts out loud, you can audio record these journal prompts, you can do a video if you want to, just to save it for later times, whatever you want to do. These are some of the things that I want you to ask yourself. So Saturn and Aries, the warrior of selfhood. My ear is ringing at this time. Hold on one second. Okay. So 1, where in my lineage was self-assertion punished, feared, or suppressed? How am I being called to reclaim it now? And also, I just want y'all to know that this will be available in a link down below for download. All these notes that I have for this particular video to work through. So, you can always go back and look on it. I just want to say these things aloud. Number 2, what does healthy anger or sacred fire look like and feel like in my body? How can I respond to it with maturity instead of repression or explosion? Okay. 3, what is a leadership role, big or small, that I've avoided out of fear of failure or rejection? And what would it look like to try anyway with courage and care? Number 4, where do I still wait for permission to be who I am? Or what am I giving my power to and why? Okay. Number 5, what practices, physical, spiritual, or ancestral, keep me rooted in self-trust when the world tries to shake me? Okay. Number 6, how am I being initiated right now? And what is the deeper purpose of this pressure or challenge that I am facing? Okay. Now, the motto of Aries is I am who I am. No Nicki Minaj. Okay. So what does I am mean to me? And how do I want to finish that sentence today? All right. I'm going to let y'all marinate. All right. You already know what it is. It's Araneae Storm, checking in, checking out. All right. All those links down below. Please let me know how you feel, how you think, what you're feeling, what you're thinking in the comments down below. And I will definitely see y'all on the next video. We have Jupiter and Cancer coming right on up. All right. Deuces.